everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are discussing my top 10 mass market tarot decks, and I love coming up with this list year over year. I have some additional videos coming out. I do have a standout decks video for tarot and then for oracle. Those will include some of my top indie decks or standout indie decks as well as mass market. So be sure to keep a lookout for that video. I also have a 2023 hauls video where I share with you all the decks I got in the year of 2023. But today, we're just talking about the top 10 mass market tarot decks, not indie, not any of that. And these are decks that I would recommend to folks whether they're seasoned or brand new to reading the cards. So if you're curious to know what is on my list, stay tuned. Okay, so number 10, the Good Karma Tarot. It says A Beginner's Guide to Reading the Cards by Carrie Ward. Here's the box, nice and sturdy. We'll set that over there. Here is the guidebook. It's a really good guidebook, okay? And it's so good, in fact, that I put it on my shelf outside of the box. It's on my shelf of like guidebooks that I like to go to and pull at, or pull for or go for, because it is chock full of great information for each of the cards. There is, let me just check out the table of contents. We have the introduction, debunking myths. I like that. Getting started section, explanation for the major arcana, and you've got full color images here of the cards, plus a full page devoted to the card meanings. It's just a really, really good handy guidebook. I love that death card. And so much so that when people are like, oh, what deck should I get? I'm new to tarot. This is one that I would recommend. This is one of those decks that I would totally recommend. And here's the thing, if you're seasoned, I think a seasoned reader would really appreciate this guidebook, because as seasoned readers, we do also, in our leisure, read guidebooks as part of our work. So it has working with the deck, the spreads, lots of spreads here. The art of storytelling in tarot. I love this section. Love, 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 love this section. And tarot talismans. And yeah, this right here makes it worth it to get this deck and have it to your collection. I keep it in this bag here. I don't usually go in the box, so the deck stays in this bag. Let's pull it out. So I'll flip through some of the cards. Here's the card backs. They are glossy, but they have withstood the test of time. I've had this deck a while. Here's the Empress card backs. If I have a full flip through or deck unboxing of any of the decks I mentioned in today's video, I will be sure to link it in the description box down below. Here's the Three of Swords. Some people may not appreciate the art, but I do. Ten of Wands. It's very evocative. It's modern or contemporary as it may be. And my clients enjoy the images and I enjoy looking at them. And the deck just works. Here's the Hanged Woman. Here's the Ace of Swords. Three of Cups. Knight of Swords. And what's interesting about this Knight of Swords is I typically associate people who have tattoos with either the Pentacles suit or the Air suit. And so this fits the bill for me. Dark haired, tattoos. He even has like his eyebrows kind of shaved up there. If you look very closely, I don't know if you can get it, but a lot of personality. And swords I associate obviously with air signs. Seven of Cups. Four of Swords, the Sun. So yeah, I won't do a full flip through here for time's sake, but I think you get the drift, or catch the drift if you will. This is a great deck that I enjoy working with, even as a seasoned reader. It reads quite well in many different types of readings, and it is one that I would definitely recommend to folks who are in need of a deck. And okay, all right, and it's budget friendly. That's what we love about mass market decks. All right, let's move on to number 9. All right, let's move on to number 9, which is the Ferenc's Pinter Tarot. This is a Los Scarabeo deck, and I love the box so much so that I keep this on my open face shelving, where it's typically shown in like my videos, and just love it. Love, love, love it. And more so than anything, I love the deck. I love it. I'll tell you why. So, let me see, does it say who it's by? It's the artwork of Ferenc's Pinter, but it's not, the deck I don't believe is created. Yeah, the text is by Charles Harrington. It has a cool little guidebook. You know, it is in multiple languages, but the section that is English speaking is quite descriptive for each of the cards. And it's got some good information here. Is it, overly, involved in all the meanings? No, but it's got the English, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian text. So it's got a lot of languages covered. And it's a good little handbook, a little guidebook here. I enjoy this magical surrealism art style. Here's the backs. Pretty thick card stock for Los Scarabeo. And let's go through some of these cards. Here's Four of Cups. You have the symbol here, the number here. It is glossy. I typically will use this deck in like some of my Mystery Mystic readings or my Maritime Mysteries readings. We have Queen of Wands here. There's Ace of Coins or Ace of Pentacles. It just takes my intuition to a whole different direction that I really appreciate in readings. It stretches me out of my comfort zone when it comes to interpreting the cards. We have the World. I've used it in a few client readings, but I find it really works for me when I am doing readings such as like Maritime Mysteries. Here's Two of Coins, Two of Pentacles. Love this Queen of Swords. Here's the Nine of Swords. I would say that this deck is probably for more the intermediate to advanced reader. Although I've always said on my channel that, if you are called to work with a deck that's known to be for the advanced reader, but you're just starting out, but you're called to work with that deck, go for it. But if you're a bit more cautious about what decks you work with at the start, this may be one that you may pass up. You may love the artwork and you may get it and just kind of peruse the cards for the sake of appreciating the artwork. But it can be a little challenging to work with as a newbie, okay? Page of Wands. Here's the Page of Cups. King of Wands. And if you're new to Tarot and you have worked with this deck, let us know in the comments. How are you getting along with it? And also, if you're seasoned to, Tarot and you have this deck, do you have it and how do you get along with it? We'd love to hear from you. Six of Pentacles. Here is the High Priestess. There is some nudity, as you've seen. I love this High Priestess. Here's Eight of Wands. So yeah, that is my number 9. And when I got this deck late last year, I instantly fell in love with it. I knew I had to have it, and I did a spread asking if this would be one that needs to come to my collection, and I got a resounding yes. And I'm happy to report that over a year later, I am still loving this deck. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Version, because there is an indie version. The first copy I think I left in my parents' house, and it was super thin cardstock, which didn't bother me so much, but I know a lot of people complained about it. When I bought it a second time though, like months or even a year later, the cardstock got a lot better. I'll show you in a moment, but first, let's talk about this amazing guidebook, okay? When I'm getting ready to recommend a particular deck to someone who's asking for a tarot deck recommendation, I always keep in mind the guidebook. I find that so important when you're making a deck recommendation. And I love this deck and guidebook so much so that I featured it in my tarot study that I used to do. I enjoy doing the tarot studies, but suit of coins, as we know as the earth element or pentacles, and then the suit of blades, which is air element, and the swords. So you have the history of Tarot here, a brief history, the major and minor and pip deck, and it goes into just a couple paragraphs, just letting you know you're working with the pip deck here. And if you're new to working with pip decks, this is one I would recommend because it's got a very good user-friendly guidebook. The artwork is stunning, and yeah, I just love it. My clients love it too when I use it. Yes, it's got a bunch of little skulls and things like that, but it's a fan favorite. Yeah, so it says the Antique Anatomy Tarot is a pip deck, which means that all the major arcana or cards are illustrated here. Remember, minor words here for the minors at the bottom. So yeah, that's the guidebook. Check out the flip through. If I have a flip through, I'll be putting it in the description box. But I also will feature the playlist of the Tarot Study group that we did for this deck. Or the Tarot Study group playlist, period. It's got a lot of great videos in there that I think you'll find super helpful. Still to this day, watch those videos, and you can look at those videos and apply it. Yes, the anti-anatomy tarot, that's what you have, but we need more collection. I do enjoy doing tarot studies. I'm hoping to do that again. That is the tentative that's number 8, friends. Let me know what you think in the comments section about this deck. Now, of course, if I were to recommend this to a beginner, I would, simply because of the guidebook and how much great information it has that you can apply to create a tarot deck, and also those who are wanting to dive into hit style decks. That would be who I recommend this deck for. Are you ready for number 7? Let's get into number 7. Is by Shaheen Miro with commentary by Teresa Reed, and it is gorgeous. It is one of those mass market decks that to me feels very much like an indie deck. Now, do I use it all the time in my readings? No, I'll be honest with you, I don't. Am I happy it's in my collection? Yes, because the times that I do use this deck or call to grab for it, I'm always super appreciative of the artwork and most importantly, the reading content that comes from them. Like, the images are so evocative that you really could go in multiple directions, and they just look so good on the card table. Let's see. Let's explore what they look like. Let's put them up here. And then I'm gonna zoom in so you can see them. So you see what I'm talking about. It's just really beautiful. It's not cookie cutter in the sense of you're getting something entirely different, and it looks like an expensive deck. It really does. It really does. It's gilded, silver gilding. Because I don't use it very often, the gilding has withstood the test of time. I've had this deck a while. I got it when it first came out too. Let me show you. And I'm happy I have it. There's many decks that it plays well with in terms of adding it with Oracle decks in my collection. It's just gorgeous. And so for those who really loves this vintagey but modern coloring, but vintage type of imagery and collage style, this deck would definitely work for you. If you are a newbie, I think you could work with this deck. I don't think that it's too far, you know, down the road of difficulty that you couldn't work with it. Like, here is the Seven of Swords. If you look at her facial expression, she's really giving Seven of Swords energy, right? In my opinion. Here is the Empress. She is a mother, okay? So I could see how this deck could definitely work for a beginner as well as a seasoned reader. Here's the Magician. Oh, here's the Queen of Wands. It's just gorgeous to me, and I plan to use it more in 2024. I've used it a few times in mainly readings for myself and as a teaching deck this year. Not so much for clients, but reading certainly for myself. And oh, I love the Eight of Swords. It's just gorgeousness. Here's the Ten of Cups. All right, and let me show you the guidebook before we wrap this one up for number 7. Here's the guidebook. This is Wiser Books, I believe. Yes. Power of Tarot. It says, acquaint yourself with the cards, keystones of Tarot, elemental energy, meaning through numbers. So again, you get some good information about numerology. Okay. No full pictures, but you don't need that. It asks a question here for the lovers. What choice will you make? Keywords: love, romance, relationships, intimacy, and choices. Your general theme and reversals. Okay. You got the minors. So yeah, I am quite impressed with this deck. So happy I have it in my collection. Let me know what you all think about it as we head on over to number 6. Be right back. Okay, so moving on to number 6. That would be the Herbcrafter's Tarot. This is another one that I featured in a tarot study. So this will attest to how much I know it and love it, okay? Many of the decks that I'm speaking of today were a part of very long, extensive tarot studies that we did in our private Facebook group, Abundant Life Tarot group. So yes, check out that playlist because this deck was also heavily discussed in videos upon videos. The artwork is by Joanna Powell Colbert. She also is the creator of the Gaian Tarot, which is one of my top decks of all time. I love that deck. And then the guidebook was written by Letitia Guthrie. This is a US game systems deck, and another great guidebook in my opinion. Another great guidebook. As you can see, we'll just kind of flip through. Like justice associated with cannabis. You've got key sentences, 3 key sentences here. A description of what's in the image and then the meaning itself. And then crafting with justice. 3 different ways of working with the energy of justice or the cannabis, right? So a cannabis plant. So that's the guidebook. Just adore this guidebook so much. And here are the card backs. I've seen where people have trimmed their decks. I'll show you in a moment the fronts, but here's the card backs. And they trimmed it where you're only seeing just the image and maybe this part here. I chose not to trim it. Okay, so we have 5 of air. And my apologies, my husband's watching a movie very loudly. I think I don't know, is he going deaf? I don't know what's going on. It's super loud. Those are not sirens. Like in real life. So we have 5 of air, white sage, glorious artwork. I typically use this deck spring and summertime, although you can use it throughout the year. really and truly. But for some reason, I just love using it during spring and summer months. Here's the Lovers. I surprised myself and pushed myself outside of my comfort zone by working with the Herbcrafters Tarot because, let's face it, I don't have a green thumb. Okay, I'll be honest, I don't. I would love one, and hopefully one day that will come to pass that I have a green thumb, meaning that I'm very good with keeping plants alive. But in the meanwhile, I can certainly enjoy plant-based decks, and I really enjoy the Herbcrafters Tarot. I really do. It brings back nostalgia because the people in my life who do have green thumbs, my dad, my grandmothers, it just reminds me of being at home or being back in Mississippi with my grandparents and being in their garden. And this deck brings up nostalgic memories, and it reads really well. It really does. And what I mean by that is that you'd be surprised by how much you actually know about some of the plants. You may not think you know much, but you do. And you also probably would know the associations that come with, say, the Three of Water, right? And you have this wonderful guidebook to consult. In terms of if this is for newbies, some people would argue that new tarot readers probably would not really appreciate this deck, but I beg to differ, and here's why. I've been reading tarot for a good while now, and I would still have to consult the guidebook from time to time when I use this deck because I want to learn. I want to craft with the energy or craft with the plant that they're discussing, like cayenne. Cayenne's one of my favorite seasonings, and I would see how the guidebook is, directing on how to work with cayenne, right? Crafting with cayenne, but also just what does the author have to say about the key meanings. So in that regard, we all may consult the deck, and if you don't have a green thumb like me, you really might be consulting it. And here's the thing, just because you have to consult a guidebook for using a deck doesn't make it a bad deck, okay? A lot of people kind of get hung up on, I want to not have to use a guidebook when I'm doing readings. There is something to be said about that. Like when you're a professional reader, you don't really have time to be consulting guidebooks. However, readings for yourself or certain private client readings, you certainly can bust out the guidebook and just explain it to your client that you're intuitively called to work with the guidebook on this particular deck. You don't always for every deck, but for this one, you are called to use it. No one's going to fault you for that. So in that regard, I think that beginners could use this deck, but they may still want to consult a very strong tarot guidebook to walk them through, and then certainly study up on this one. And if you're really into plants, this is a good one to have and add to your collection. And herbs. All right, check out the video links I have, or the playlist links I have in the description box to learn more about these decks that I'm mentioning today. All right, let's move on. 5. Okay, another one that I have featured and had a profound experience in our tarot study group. The Hoodoo Tarot. Oh my God. This deck right here by Tiana Lee McQuiller, artwork by Caitlin V. Foisey, is powerful. We had such an amazing tarot study experience. I think we all still talk about it today. This was a couple years ago that I had the tarot study with this deck, and it was in line with when I made the decision to move to a new country to go live abroad. And I was in all my feels, to be honest with you. And so that tarot study is super meaningful to me. And we had shared from our heart space. All of that content is in the Facebook group, the private Facebook group. You could just search by Hoodoo Tarot Study, and you'll be able to find all those posts. There's so many posts associated with this deck, as well as in the playlist, my tarot study playlist. You will see a lot of videos associated with this. Again, I really highly encourage you to check out that playlist. A lot of people still consult those videos, even if they don't have this deck. Maybe you're thinking about getting this deck. Watching those videos may change your mind, or it may help you to deepen your understanding of certain card meanings. Okay, the guidebook. Amazeballs. Just amazeballs. Aunt Carolyn, Wheel of Fortune, the Plan Association. She even has a Bible scripture. She describes the image and the person depicted in this card. A detailed card meaning here is listed, and questions to consider when Aunt Carolyn shows up in your reading. Lots of questions actually goes on to this next page. The minors, well, she has the court cards. I think they're called the family. Yes. So the elders are the majors, right? The family is the court cards. Let's get there. Like Mother of Knives, Plant Rue. And then we go into the community, which is the minor arcana. Such a great guidebook. I won't bore you with the details because I will be linking some videos or like the playlist associated with the Hoodoo Tarot in the description box, so you can really get your feet wet. Or if you want to even deep dive into the deck, you can with that content. I keep it in this little bag here. I primarily use this deck for ancestral readings for myself personally. I rarely use this deck for client readings, if at all. It has been designated as a deck that I use exclusively for my ancestral work. Here's the card backs. It is showing the the southern states here. Okay, you can read reversals. Okay, great card stock. I've had it for a few years and it's held up well. Here's the Father of Coins. I love this sepia color. We have the Three of Coins. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful. Four of Sticks. There are times when I will use this, not necessarily for ancestral readings, but just readings for myself, you know. And also, don't get me wrong, you can certainly use this deck for many different types of readings, including client readings or any kind of readings. I haven't had this deck anointed as one that I would use with my ancestral work. So because of that, I don't like to incorporate a lot of different types of energies into the deck. It is from my communication with my ancestors, or about my ancestors, to and about my ancestors. And that is because I resonate deeply with the images and with the people depicted. They look like my family members. Oh, yes, Father of Knives. And, you know, of course it could change at some point in the future where I'm like, okay, let me just use this for client readings. But for now, and it has been like this for a few years now, it hasn't been the case. Do you have decks that you have for designated purposes for your readings? Let us know in the comment section down below. Love to hear about it because I'm curious. And if you have the Hoodoo Tarot, how do you primarily use it? And who do you read with? Who are the ones, who's your querent? Are you the querent, or do you use it in professional readings? Who's your querent when it comes to this deck? All right, that is the Hoodoo Tarot, number 5. Number 5, let's move on. Moving on to number 4. This would be the New Era Elements Tarot by Eleanor F. Piper, PhD. And this is another US Games Systems deck. I don't see a lot of people talking about this deck, to be honest. I know that it had a rough go because some people did not feel some of the cards depicted. It's, you know, there's some cards that are not for those with a weak stomach. I'll just say that. However, I love this deck. And it's got a great guidebook here. It is elemental, so you're going to have, oh, it even has the correspondences. Yes, astrological correspondences. But it has fire, you know, earth, water, you know, air. So it's an elemental deck, just like it says, New Era Elements. It's fully illustrated, shuffles beautifully. I typically use this deck for two purposes, either Mystery Missing Mondays or Maritime Mysteries, or when I have some downtime and I'm watching like suspense movies or just movies in general, primarily suspense or thriller, I will use this deck and shuffle to see how the outcome is going to unfold and check in with my intuition to see if I'm tapped in with using this deck. Weird, I know, but it's what I do. Card backs is a little on the smaller side for a tarot, but I like it. And I love the sepia colored. Because I use it so often now, because of those types of readings that I do for the channel, or just, I don't always use it or publish every video I do for something like a mystery mystic reading or a mysterious circumstances reading. I don't publish every single one that I do, but I use this deck a lot in those types of readings that it warrants being more at the top of my top 10 list, okay? You could use this deck certainly for client readings, but let me show you why that may not be the case. Like this card, 9 of, let's see, is that air? I don't know, but nevertheless, it is, because they have the little symbol here, which you can find in the guidebook. This would traumatize some people, okay? And it's not for the faint at heart. If you have a client that you know they don't have a weak stomach or they appreciate this type of energy, go for it. Love the High Priestess. But let me see if I can show you one of the ones. Another, oh, I love the Three of Pentacles or Three of Earth. And I also love the Star. But let me see if I can find, oh, here's the Hermit. Let me see if I can find the other one. Oh, okay, here's another card. This is Three of Swords or Three of Air. Again, not for the faint at heart. Some people faint at the sight of needles. My dad is one of the people who get very faint-headed with the sight of needles. This may not work for everybody. But it reads so well. I use this deck in the Titan submersible, or the Titanic, you know, the little submersible submarine thing that went down and exploded, unfortunately. And I was amazed at how the reading came out with it. So, and not all the images are crazy. Not crazy, you know what I mean, but intense. The Fool is gorgeous. But let me show you. Here's the Tower. It almost looks like 9/11, you know, the Twin Towers. Got that energy going on. That's another card that could be very triggering for some people. Let me see if I can find, here's the Sun. Let me see if I can find that card. Here's the Death card, which I love. I don't know if I want to be able to find it easily. That's okay. That's okay. I love the Empress. Here's Eight of Water. I love Four of Earth. Here's Five of Air. 10 of Air. Let's see. 5 of Water. Oh, I don't know. The Hierophant, that might be triggering for some people just in general, just on GP with the Hierophant. Many of us have some unresolved issues with that type of energy, that archetypal energy. I know there was like some kind of controversy surrounding the Dalai Lama not too long ago. So there's that. Let me see. There's the moon. Where is that? Don't you know, isn't that always something when you're looking for the darn card? And then it's just like, where is it? Here's the Wheel of Fortune. There it is. It's the last one. This is another very triggering card. Okay? Just forewarning you. Pause. You can pause here and then fast forward a few seconds. The Devil. Very triggering. It's got a dead child on here. So, yeah. But I appreciate it nonetheless. Let me know what you all think of the New Era Elements Tarot. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. Are you surprised by it being in the number 4 position? Let me know. Let me know. All right. Let's move on to the next one. All right. Number 3 spot. That would be the Spirit Within Tarot by Stephen Bright. This is a red feather Schiffer deck. I've had it for many, many years, and it never disappoints. It is a great little deck. I use it year over year during my New Year's readings for myself and for clients. Sometimes I'm just called to use it throughout the year, but typically I just find that I go to grab for it for a particular spread that I do for New Year's readings. I have a 12-month spread that I use, and I typically use this deck. Here's the guidebook. Great little guidebook here. Little color representations of the cards. Keywords. You know, full pages devoted. Full little pages, of course. Devoted to the card meanings. Great little guidebook. Love Stephen Bright just as a person and as a creator. So you really can't go wrong with this deck. It's modern or contemporary, and I really, really love it. It's reversible too. But yeah, this is a deck that most anybody could grab on and use, whether you are new or whether you are seasoned. I would make a recommendation for this deck for those who just want something modern in their collection, but that is full illustrations throughout all of the deck, right? Here's the Hermit, or no, yes, the Hermit. Love this Hermit depiction. I love the silhouettes. I think that just adds to its timelessness, you know. I just really, really appreciate this deck so much, and it reads so well and so easily. You know how you have some decks that you could just go on and on for days with all these descriptions, and then there's some decks that 1 or 2 keywords, powerful keywords nonetheless, but just 1 or 2 words come to you, and that's just what the reading is. This, you could go in either direction, really and truly. Really and truly. And with it being glossy, it's still holding up. And I think I've had it as long as it came out. 2017 is when it's saying it was published. And I'm pretty sure I got it right soon after it was published. As I saw it, and I was like, oh yes, this is my style. Here's the 3 of Swords. 6 of Wands. And I love the Temperance card. DJ, mix. Okay. Here's the Queen of Wands. So that's number 3, friends. That is Spirit Within Tarot by Stephen Bright. And let me know what you think of it. Like I said, I think that a new reader could really dive into using this deck, really and truly. There is something here also for us seasoned readers. You know, here's the Death card. So yeah. And if you like contemporary art styles, this would definitely work. And yes, it's glossy. Some people can't stand glossy, but for the most part, it has weathered the use that I've put in the use the abuse and the use that I put on this deck. For number two is the Unfolding Path Tarot by Athena Noctua. And this one's new to my collection as of this year. Many of the decks that I mentioned to you are decks I've owned for many years. But, you know, sometimes decks come and go on my list that I recommend year over year. And this is new to my collection and new to my top 10 mass market decks. Okay, so Unfolding Path. A couple of my friends who collect decks said they thought this would be one I would appreciate. They were like, if you like the, you know, a certain deck or this deck or that deck, they were like, and we see that what style of art you like, you're gonna appreciate this one. And they were right. This is a Hay House Tarot deck. And I had been using, once it came into my collection, I just started using it for client readings right out of the box. Here's the guidebook. It's got the keywords here, and a page is devoted to each of the cards. Yes, it's got some spreads in this guidebook. I believe there's an indie version of this deck, but I'm just getting this one. Here's the card backs, which I adore. Reversible. It actually shuffles really nicely. I have not done a flip of this deck yet. I will. I plan on doing more of a review or a deck in focus than an unboxing or flip through, because I've owned it for a few months, quite a few months now. And I wanted to actually get to know it and use it before I actually did a video on it. Not every deck I do that for, but this one I felt called to do more of like a deck in focus or a deck review. And so stay tuned. That will be coming out sometime in the near future. I haven't recorded it yet, but it is on my to-do list to record. Here's the Magician. Here's the Fool. Ten of Cups. I think this could be a beginner's deck, but really I think this might be more geared towards an intermediate or above, you know, like a intermediate or seasoned reader, advanced reader. It's not, you know, again, like I always say, you be the judge on what decks you feel called to use, no matter where you are in your journey of tarot reading. Here's the Four of Coins. I think in some ways it can totally work for beginners, but there are some cards that I'm like, I'm not so sure if you would feel comfortable with it. Let me know what you think. Here's the Devil. I love the white space in the cards. I think it's beautiful. It just reads really well, and I found that it just, with client readings in love or career, it was just really, the messages were singing to me. So I thank those, and you know who you are, who made the recommendation of this deck to me. The Chariot. Here's the King of Wands. Here's the Eight of Swords. Here's this gorgeous Ace of Cups. Here's Five of Coins or Five of Pentacles. Nine of Swords. The Star. Seven of Swords. Here's the Hierophant. This might be one of those cards that could work for a beginner, maybe, but the intermediate reader could probably really appreciate it. Three of Wands. It just says hanged. No hanged man, no hanged woman, just hanged. Page of Pentacles. Let's do a couple more. Here's the moon. Another card that maybe the advanced reader or the intermediate or advanced reader would appreciate. 8 of Cups. And I love this 3 of Pentacles. I love when beekeepers are depicted in tarot decks or oracle decks. I don't know why. It's just something I really appreciate seeing. Maybe I love the bees. I don't know what it is, but I love it. And here is the Queen of Pentacles. Love the diversity in ages, races, or ethnicities. Yeah. Okay, that is the Unfolding Path Tarot at number 2. Are you ready for number 1? Are you ready? Can you make a guess at what the number 1 is? I am curious to hear what you think number 1 is. What is your number 1 top mass market tarot deck? All right, be sure to leave a comment and let me know. Into number 1. This may not come as a surprise to many of you, but hey, that's okay. Number 1 is the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann Donnelly. This is a Hay House Tarot deck. Yeah. And you know what's going to be funny? And I'm just going to give you a spoiler alert for those who have made it this far. If you watch my standout decks of 2023, I think I am planning on making that or doing that tarot tag. Spoiler alert. This one won't be, I don't think it will be discussed. Shocker, huh? But that doesn't mean that it's not one that I wouldn't recommend this year to those who are seeking out new decks to work with, or if you are new to tarot. This would be the top one that I recommend because this is the one that I worked with very extensively throughout my time of having it. I have both the indie version and this is like my 3rd copy of this one. I've beat it up so much, but that's just a testament to how much I love it. I actually put it down. I didn't force myself, but I kind of was like, no, Kim, you need to use some of your other decks that you have and see what else is, you know, what other decks are speaking to you. And I did, and I'm glad I did. I took a little hiatus, but for the first, 3 seasons of this year, I was using this deck primarily in my client readings, and it just works. It's super beat up. This is like beat up, but I feel like every year I show you all a beat up copy, and every year it's like a new deck that got beat up. So I buy multiple copies of it. Here's the chunky guidebook. Chris Ann is amazing. I love her and I love this deck. And yeah, I never tire of working with it, except for I did want to stretch my wings and work with other decks like in autumn and winter of this year. And so that's what I decided to do. So I put it back in its box, and I'll probably be going back to it at some point in the near future. But yeah, so there's a couple of decks or a couple of top 10 videos I'm going to be putting out in the next couple of weeks. And like I said, the spoiler alert is that particularly in my standout decks tarot edition, this one I don't think it's mentioned. Or if it's mentioned, it's not number 1. Which is a new thing for me if you have been around my channel a long time. I would recommend this deck for beginners and seasoned alike. Strongly recommended for beginners. I just really appreciate it. Like what I love about the guidebook is it goes into depth with the light seer, so the light facing energies, or you know, you got the light and the shadow. So light seer and shadow. And Chris Ann has a beautiful way with words. And it's just, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend this deck. And if you've watched my past top 10 mass market deck videos over the years, and I've done this many years now, as long as this deck had been out, it has been in those lists because it's that good. Some people don't like it. Some people don't like the art style. They don't like that it feels too hipster-like or what have you. I don't have that experience with it. I enjoy the artwork. I enjoy how it reads with client readings and with readings for myself. I really love that I can use it in all types of readings, love readings, life purpose, career, all kinds of readings. I even use it in the Mystery Mystic series. It is a good well-rounder, and I encourage you to check it out if you haven't already done so. But yeah, y'all, I had to like say, give her a rest. She's tired. I don't know if she's tired, but I did want to use some of the many other decks I have in my collection. And y'all know I have quite a few. So there you have it. That was number 1. We made it through. If you made it this far, I adore you. Thank you for hanging in there with me to number 1. Let me know what your top 10 mass market tarot decks were this year. Whether you've owned the decks for a long time or they were new to your collection this year, rank them. Put them in the comment section. Rank them. We want to hear from you. Because this is how we all learn about new decks or old decks that are out. Sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised about a particular deck. So share. Do me a favor on your way out. Please hit the like button. It does help me immensely, helps the channel. And subscribe. Stay in touch. All right, friends, if you're watching this around the holiday season or the new year, happy holidays and happy new year. Stay tuned. There will be more top 10 or top 5 videos coming your way. I love this time of year for this. It's so much fun. So much fun for me to make these videos. All right, friends. Bye.